Welcome to Body Unified Flow. I'm your host, Dr. Mary Muthu, and here we simplify complexity and amplify performance. In construction, we often think on time and on budget means success. But what if there's a deeper way to measure it? Today, we're diving into the second tenet of lean construction, how to move beyond the contract to generate true, lasting value for your clients. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll challenge the old definition of value. Then, we'll look at why traditional methods often just don't cut it. After that, we'll get into a really powerful tool called conditions of satisfaction. I'll show you how to build them, and then we'll see how they become the absolute strategic core of a successful project. By the end of our time together, you'll walk away with a really clear framework for figuring out what a client truly wants, not just what's written down in the contract. We're going to move way beyond simple metrics to uncover the core needs that drive real satisfaction. All right, let's jump right in by challenging the traditional and, frankly, pretty limited definition of what project value even is. It's a question that sounds so simple, right? But getting the answer right is the foundation of everything. For decades, the industry's default answer has been just two things: budget and schedule. But is that really the whole story? I don't think so. Well, lean thinking really pushes us to go deeper. It says value isn't just about the building itself. It's about what that building does for the client's business. Real value is the gap between the usefulness they get and what they had to spend to get it. You see, value isn't some static number on a spreadsheet. It's a living, breathing concept. For a hospital, value might mean shorter patient recovery times. For a tech startup, it could be a design that sparks those random, game-changing conversations. And what a client thinks is valuable during design will almost definitely be different by the time they're actually using the space. Okay, so now that we've kind of expanded our idea of value, let's look at why the traditional way of doing things so often fails to deliver it, even when everything looks good on paper. I bet we've all been there. It's so frustrating, right? You check all the boxes, you meet all the specs, but somehow you miss the mark. Now, this isn't a failure of doing the work. It's a failure of understanding what the work was really for. And what you're seeing here is a huge shift in mindset. The traditional model on the left, it's often defensive. Requirements are handed down, and when things go wrong, the blame game starts. But the lean approach on the right is all about collaboration. Goals are developed together, and problems trigger no-blame problem solving. It's a fundamental shift from us versus them to a unified we, all focused on the project's real success. So, if the traditional way is broken, what's the fix? How do we take this new, bigger idea of value and make it real, something we can actually act on? This is where conditions of satisfaction, or COS, come in. This is the tool, the mechanism for translating those big picture value ideas into concrete, measurable promises. It's the how behind giving the client what they truly want, not just what the contract says they're getting. I love this quote because it highlights something so crucial. Conditions of satisfaction aren't just a list of facts you write down. They have to be discovered. They come out of deep, collaborative conversations with the client, from truly listening to their goals, their fears, and even the needs they haven't articulated yet. Okay, let's get practical. How do we actually do this? How do we build these conditions of satisfaction? Let's walk through the process of turning those fuzzy, abstract goals into rock-solid project targets. So building effective COs is a structured process. It's not just some casual chat. It all starts with co-development, getting the owner, designers, and key builders in the same room from day one. From there, you dig deep into the client's business case, you define the COs with super clear criteria, and then you validate them to make sure everybody is on the same page. It's all about asking why before you ever get to what. And applying the SMART framework is absolutely essential. This is what keeps value from being just a vague philosophical idea. For instance, instead of saying, we want a quiet building, a SMART condition would be, achieve a noise criteria rating of NC25 in all patient rooms, verified by acoustic testing after commissioning. See? Now the team has a clear target they can actually aim for. Now here's a key point. This is not about creating some endless checklist of demands. The real goal is to nail down between 8 and 15 core conditions of satisfaction. This keeps the whole team focused on what really, truly matters and helps away that paralysis you get from having dozens of competing priorities. Okay, so having great COs is one thing, but using them to actively steer the project every single day, that's another. They really need to be baked into the project's DNA. And this is where Lean provides the perfect operating system for it. At a high level, you've got target value delivery, which steers the big decisions toward the client's values and a set cost. Then, on the ground, you have the last planner system, which makes sure the work flows reliably. The COS are the glue that holds these two systems together, creating this powerful loop where high-level value directly informs the daily work. Just think of the cause as the project's true north. It's that fixed star on the horizon that ensures every strategic decision in the office and every tactical decision on site moves the team in the exact same direction, toward delivering genuine client value. We've covered the what and the how, but let's wrap up with the really profound why. Why is making this shift so critical for the future of our industry? At the end of the day, generating value isn't just about better processes or fancy new software. It's about transforming the relationships on a project. It's about moving away from those transactional, often adversarial dynamics to building real collaborative partnerships based on trust, respect, and a single shared vision of success. So, let's just quickly bring it all together. We started by redefining value, shifting it from just cost and schedule to the client's core business goals. Then we introduced conditions of satisfaction as the hands-on tool to turn those goals into smart commitments. And finally, we saw how plugging these into a lean management system aligns the entire project team around one shared definition of success. So I'll leave you with this final thought to reflect on as you head into your future projects. The choice between sticking with the old transactional model and embracing a new value-driven one, well, that's what will define the success of not just your projects, but your relationships and your reputation in the long run. Thank you for joining this session of Bodhi Unified Flow. I hope this deep dive into generating value gives you a powerful new lens for your work. The key thing to remember is that shifting from requirements to conditions of satisfaction isn't just better for the client, it builds stronger teams and ultimately more successful projects for everyone involved.